Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into the Boxing Authorities. Joining me at the desk, as always, Luther Dupree Jr., Smokin Jim Frazier, and my name is Claudio Relsano. Well, somebody that you and I have been pretty high on the past few fights, and I don't know what your thoughts are on him, but we'll get to
Probably
you.
off.
Yeah, is David Morrell. He is the WBA regular super middleweight champ. He is now 6-0. He fought a guy who had like 28, 29 fights to him, Atlantes Fox. Luther, your thoughts on the fight?
First of all, this guy, David Morrell Jr., he is the goods. He has everything you need. Only 6-0, a WBA champion. Mm-hmm. Listen, he's so good, David Benavidez says that he would be a tough fight for him. Yeah. You know, and he wants all the smoke. This guy has power in both hands. He fought a guy, Fox. Fox is a guy who put down Demetrius Andre. He dropped him. But he was not even competitive against this young bull, this young monster. I like what this guy has. He's fluid, power in both hands. I love it. He has a great trainer, Ronnie Shields. The future's bright. The future's bright. He can compete with any 168-pounder. Look at the footwork. He's confident in there. We got to see if he has a chin. That's always a question. But right now, he's pretty hands down. You know, you don't want to do that against the David Benavidez of the world, but against a Fox, you can get Fox. And I don't know why these Fox guys keep going on Fox, because it's always bad news. He got knocked out. His brother got robbed. Right. So maybe Fox should stay off Fox. I don't know. But Morrell, he is the goods.
Jim.
Luther said it all. Hey, first of all, I think we got a new Olympic sport. We're going to get the dads that's training their sons to have the Olympic who can throw in the towel of first.
Right, yeah, we're going to get to that. That's crazy.
Hey, listen, this is a young man that I've seen fight on the Roberto Clemente Bridge when he was in just a young fighter in Cuba. He was just an outstanding prospect. I knew he would, beat Fox half to death. It's just a one-sided fight. The only thing he needs to learn is how to change the speed on his punches a little bit.
Good point, Jim.
But like I said, some guys are just ready right out the gate. He's one of those guys that's ready to fight anybody in the world right now.
Excellent point, Jim. Something I thought about you during this fight. You're an NFL scout, obviously. What do they say about quarterbacks when they're impressed with him? He can what? Make all the throws. Mm-hmm. This kid has all the punches.
Yes, he does.
Body punches, uppercuts, straight, lead right jab, lead left jab, and he's got some pop behind him. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. And his left uppercut is special, man.
And the thing about Fox, Luther, is he was all over the place. I mean, when you hit him, he didn't stay there. He kind of collapsed over here. Remember those things we were kids when you pressed the Mickey Mouse? You were too young, maybe. But you pressed the bottom and the guy collapses. Oh, yeah, I know.
The dinosaur
but am I right, though? When you hit a guy, you hope he's still there. Right. But he wasn't. But Morrell was still accurate.
Oh, man. And Fox is a veteran. 28 victories, only a couple losses to high-level guys.
He's no bum.
And he showed he had a great center pass, but he could not stand up to this power. Mm-hmm. Morrell Jr. is ready. He is the future. I mean, he's a problem for 168. Yep. He can go to 175 and be a problem. He's special.
And you heard it from Farrakhan.
I'm having a hard time with my collar and tie today myself. I don't know.
I got the bow tie on today, Jim. Don't mess with me today.
You look good. But I think this kid, like you said, he check marks all the boxes. Checks. How the hell is that? Check marks.
Yeah. All the boxes.
All the boxes. He's got a good look, and you saw it on the bridge. You knew right away this kid has what? It. Mm-hmm. And he can hit. Now, something we don't know.
Jim just liked him because he didn't have any facial hair. We know about Jim and his facial hair. Anybody with facial hair, he wants them to lose.
He wants them to lose. But we don't know if he has a chin just yet. Yeah. But I still would not, they're talking about Canelo. No. What did Canelo make a mistake?
Canelo better stay away from him.
Right now?
Canelo better stay away from this guy. Yes.
I wouldn't do it. Not just yet. Jim, you and I mentioned it 10 times. We saw Canelo against Mayweather.
He had 50 fights. Don't give me that.
I know that.
You're right. Get out of here. Don't make no excuses. He got dominated by an all-time great.
Right.
He was not at that level, and he's still not at that level.
But what I'm saying is Morrell, would it be the same thing, Mayweather-Canelo?
Listen, I want to see these fights.
But is it too early?
It may be too early, but we don't know till he gets in there. Let him get in there.
Let me ask you this. if you were his manager, had money and skin in the game, would you tell him to fight Canelo or wait?
I'd probably let him get a couple more fights
Okay.
in the game.
That's
I'd
right.
probably let him get
Honest
more
man.
fights.
Look at this honest man.
Listen, but I want to see it. I want to see
yeah,
these guys fight. I don't want these fights marinating, and then you get to a Bud Crawford, Earl Spence 5 years later. You know, these guys will be daggone near 40 by the time they get in the ring.
But do you think by the time Morrell wants to fight him, Canelo's so used to fighting on the upper weights, he might not want to come down?
I think Canelo wouldn't want to fight him because he knows it's going to be a tough fight. Okay. This guy can move, power in both hands. Right. He's high level, and Canelo likes to cherry pick other guys.
Would you have Morrell fight Canelo now?
Well, I disagree with Herbert Muhammad.
I
just believe. Listen, Canelo would kill this guy. He would take all his confidence away, make him swim back to Cuba.
Plant was schooling him.
He can beat anybody. Yeah. He can beat anybody out there except for David Morrell. He can beat anybody out there except for Canelo. Canelo is just. Well, in Mexico they call him Canelo. Okay. But he can beat anybody other than Canelo. And listen, you're talking about one of the top 5 greatest fighters of all time, right up there with Sugar Ray Robinson. Would you put a young fighter? Would you put a young fighter in there with Sugar Ray Robinson? No, you wouldn't put him in there with Canelo.
Let me ask you this: how about Morrell Plant?
I'd like to see that fight, but
he'll kill Plant.
I agree.
Plant's a shot fighter.
Plant shot. He's not shot.
He's not shot.
Once you go through the changes with Canelo, you're never the same.
Caleb Plant is calling out Charlo. He'd like to get that fight. That'd be another L.
Brain dead already.
You know, he's fine.
Now,
Jim, what are you talking about?
I know. Who would you like between Charlo and Plant?
Well, first of all, if they was fighting in my backyard, I'd close the blinds. But
you couldn't see it anyway.
I would love Morrell against either of those two.
Yeah, I would.
Maybe in the same night.
But number one, Plant didn't get absolutely destroyed again.
No, he did not get punished.
Did you watch it again? Did you watch the fight more than once?
The more you watch it, the more you see how good Caleb Plant was doing. He was so good, he was talking. He was talking to Canelo.
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty good, huh? You like this, huh?
Exactly. He got caught.
He got caught by a punch where he made a bad move.
He was talking.
Ducked his head, got hit. But it's that 10th round he got caught. Up until that point, he was right in there. He got caught. You know, he wasn't consistent, and Canelo's going to find your weakness and catch you. You got to stay on your P's and Q's.
Well, speaking of towels, something I've never seen, ask Lennex Lewis, he's never seen it. Goose has never seen it. When the opposing corner throws in the towel. Now, Fox's father was on the ring apron screaming, "Ref, ref, ref." Ref didn't hear it. And, and Morrell was banging away. Right. Then Ronnie Shields threw in the towel. Now, in all honesty, the ref could have said, "Okay, the fight's over.
I would have.
Your corner." Yeah. Let me ask you that. What would you have done if you were the referee?
We know what Jim would have done.
David Morrell have one loss right now.
Now, you would have got the hell just, everybody would have been on you about
That's the rules. That's the rule.
But how about if the father said, "I stopped it because the opposing corner, and you didn't hear him, I was worried about the safety."
But why didn't that? On the broadcast, they said that the corner threw in the towel.
Right.
Now,
they were wrong.
you brought that news to me. But why didn't they just throw in the towel? He was that upset with his son getting beat. Throw in the towel. You talking about the ref? Throw the towel in.
Yeah.
Jump in the ring. It's over.
Right.
That's your son getting his head beat in. Can't stand up. Stinky leg all over the place. Stop the fight.
Well, that's the see.
Maybe he's trying to get a victory like Montel Griffin.
Oh. See, I know. I
think it's Roy Jones. I don't know.
See, I'm more of a believer in that fathers should train their sons than you guys are. But I'm kind of swinging back to you because these guys can't take it when their son's getting the heck beat out.
2 punches.
Yeah.
Sean Porter's dad throwing his towel too early. This dad forgets he has a towel to throw in.
No, it was never too early for Sean Porter.
Oh man, he could have. That fight could have gone on.
He was bell right for the first round. I threw the towel in.
He was doing well. Matter of fact, some people had Sean Porter winning that fight.
Oh my goodness!
Listen, Terence Crawford. Listen, Bud Crawford's corner. Let me tell you this: Bud Crawford's corner, and there's audio of them saying this. Hey, they have you down on the cards. He said, "What? They got me down," and then he turned it up.
Right.
So his corner said that he was losing.
Because they know how Only thing square in boxing is the ring. That's why they
Hey,
do that.
that's what they said. They told him he turned it up. He got him out of there. Kenny Porter threw in the towel too early, in my opinion.
Now, what would you have done if you were the referee and Shields threw in the towel?
Well, one, the referee should have stepped in and stopped and saved Fox. It shouldn't even got to that point. It was a 30 punches to none. He's running all over. He can't stand
He wasn't
up,
standing.
and he didn't throw any punches, didn't have any guard. He was a punching bag. The referee should have stopped it. He shouldn't have had to wait
So
for
you're
a
not going
quarter
to
to throw
answer
it in
the
there.
question?
The referee should have stopped it.
But what would you have done as a referee
I would have
when
done.
the other
I would
corner
have.
threw in the towel?
I still would have said Fox because I saw this guy getting his head beat. I know he wasn't throwing in for his guy throwing 30 punches. He did the right thing.
No.
He did the right thing.
That referee
He
ought to
would.
be
He might have
suspended.
not got another big event if he did something like that.
Who's a big event? Who might not have got a big
The referee
event?
might not have got one of those big televised events.
Would they,
It was
you
on
think they
Fox.
would have changed it? So wait a minute. Here's what happened. Here's why I threw in the towel. You think they would have changed the decision? It's happened before where the scorecard was read wrong or something like that.
Right, yeah, they would have fixed it.
it would have been a fiasco.
But everybody did the right thing.
There's rules
Except
in
Fox's
boxing.
dad should have threw in the towel. Or Fox,
okay, right.
somehow, I don't know why you're screaming ref.
If Roy
at the ring.
Jones Jr., who was dominating the fight, got a loss for disqualification,
He hit the guy. The
guy was
That's a little
barely on his knee, and
And
the
we
punch
see that
was
happen.
coming.
We see
The
that happen
punch
a
was
lot.
coming.
We see that happen a lot. Guys are throwing, the guy goes down, and they
trying to
slip
No,
one in.
I seen guys I seen Marlon Stallings get knocked out after the bell, and they still awarded the other guy the victory. And he was so upset. I don't know if you remember the Magic Man, Marlon Stallings.
Sure, of course I do.
When they interviewed him, he's like, "Do I look knocked out? Do I look?" Then they showed it. Yeah. So come on, man. Roy Jones was dominating
They did
that
the right
fight,
thing.
and they gave him a loss.
Yeah,
I'd have
and
gave
what
David
happened-
Morrell a loss.
But you know what? The fact that he had that loss, we saw the most vicious Roy Jones we've ever seen. That second Roy Jones Montel Griffin fight
Cleaned him up.
was
the
unbelievable.
most vicious we ever seen was in the cockfighting championship.
Oh, there you go.
Now, we always talk about moving careers. Now, when Roberto Duran was making a nice run for a title shot, he ended up fighting Vinny. I guess that's 46 in a row that I mentioned Vinny.
Every show. I don't think we
But he
missed one
fought a
yet.
guy who didn't move. He was fighting guys who didn't move because what? Roberto was older, and he didn't want to look back. Now, Morrell, would you want him to going against a slugger, a mover? Like, would you place him right now? Or again, would you throw him in the deep end?
Hey, listen, this Fox was not C-level. He's a solid fighter. He has skills. I'd keep him moving. You know, this fight is building. David
right
Morrell,
fighter or
David
just-
Morrell is building towards a Caleb Plant,
Okay.
Benavidez, and if Canelo decides to come back down, he's in that mix already. So I'd keep him in that trajectory. You know,
How
I'd
about
like to-
style-wise? Who would you put him up against? Anybody or a slugger?
I think
a
he can go
mover?
against anybody. You know, I'd like to see him against a mover like a Plant. You know, I'd like to see him against a power guy like a Benavidez. I want to see these big fights right now.
You wanna see
He's
who
ready.
he is.
I want to see who he is because right now it's been so easy for him. You know, he has his hands down. He's so smooth. He's the real deal. I'm impressed. I can't wait to see what his career offers.
What would you do
He's
with
that good.
Well, there's only two fighters in the world that I keep him away from: Canelo and Castro. Other than that, man, this guy's ready for anybody. Listen, you keep putting him up against these soft black fighters. You know, Fox is about soft. He's a waste of a 6'4" fighter. You know it, and I know it.
He got 28 victories.
And he's soft. And his daddy's soft. He's 6'4". He should be able to. He got an uneducated jab at 6'4".
yeah.
You know, he should be great at that height
He
and that
should be.
weight.
Was he bad, or did Morrell look bad?
Well, he's bad.
He's never looked this
He-
bad.
he's
Listen,
bad.
look at his losses. He's lost to guys with
He's
belts.
a human
He's
prey
lost to at
menace.
least- Oh, stop. He's lost to A-level guys. Listen, this was not a pushover. He wasn't soft. He wasn't C-level. He was a solid fighter who's
I
only
bet
lost
you he
to
was at the
champions.
club that night. These guys don't want it, man. They don't
You
want
mad?
it.
Are you mad
They
at
ain't
before?
got no rock. They ain't
more,
got no
more
Rocky in them.
Smokopedia.
No, they ain't
More
got no Rocky
Smokopedia
in
stuff. Stop discrediting
He
this
was
guy.
mad that
He was
they
a solid
stopped it,
fighter. He was a solid fighter. Stop
He
that.
was at the club where YMCA was playing.
Oh, gosh, Jim.
Well, I think this kid has star written all over him. I
Facts.
think he could be
That's a
the
big
face of boxing down the road. Would you agree with that?
He could be, yeah. I
Good looking
definitely see
guy,
that.
can fight.
We always talk about the looks on this
Well,
show.
it's important. it's important.
To you and
right?
Jim, it really is.
I think it's
Nobody's
important.
talking about Jackson State game. Oh, I'm sorry, Lou.
All right. Well, like I said, we've enjoyed watching him, and we're certainly looking forward
The
to
future is
his
bright.
future for sure. Now, Luther's favorite fighter, Derek Chisora, lost the second time to Joseph Parker. Your thoughts on that fight?
Listen, man, we knew how this fight was going to end. Shout out to UK fans because they keep supporting this C-level fighter. Derek Chisora just is a knockout, a punching bag. Joseph Parker's not known for having a lot of power, but he was punching Chisora all over the place. He shows heart. I respect that. But, man, he has 12
Why
losses.
did they stop him when he was throwing punches?
Yeah, the bell run.
Okay, my
Goes
fault,
down
okay.
again. Joseph Parker dominated this fight. It was way closer than it should have been because it was in the UK. But we knew what was going to happen. Joseph Parker should not have fought a Derek Chisora. He should have fought another high-level guy. Hopefully, Joseph Parker fights a guy like Philip Herkovich. I would like to see that.
There you go.
He needs to step up. Joseph Parker needs to keep fighting better guys than Chisora.
Who would you like?
I think I might take Herkovich.
You've always liked him.
Yeah, I think I would. Joseph Parker, solid guy, but he's not top tier. He's not top tier, and I like Philip Herkovich. He's the real deal. Kind of slow, but I think he knocks out Joseph Parker.
Jim.
Well, Arkovich is my 23rd rated
got the list.
heavyweight in the
Look out.
deepest heavyweight
Where do you have
era.
Parker ranked?
I got Parker up there pretty good, probably in the top 10 somewhere.
Probably. You're
Here,
looking at
top
your list.
nine,
You
number
can't
nine.
read it?
Number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah.
He's got different color
I got
ink on there.
I got
Luther.
34.
What do the green ink
Hey,
mean?
listen. You
And he
know,
ran out of red ink.
hey, Derek Chisora, he remind me a little bit about as Dwight Quawee did, Dwight Braxton.
Okay.
I mean, he had that kind of style. He can bang. He's 37 years old now. He's still a tough guy. Listen, Parker's coming off a split decision. He had to fight this guy again. He gave him a rematch. He knocked him out this time. Now
knock him
Parker can move on. Parker's 6'4", 240 pounds. There's so many great heavyweights that can be champions, so you can just pick, like Luther said. Luther picked my 23rd ranked guy.
Just to beat him, just to beat Parker, yes. Yes. Because
That's how deep
Parker's
it is.
way overrated.
But I see ain't nobody calling for Sanchez. Ain't nobody calling out Sanchez.
Is it because they're afraid to look bad or lose?
Yeah.
Both.
Because you might. Okay.
Both. I think it's both.
Sanchez is special.
This guy's tough. This guy's tough. He has all the skills, great footwork.
Talking about Sanchez?
Sanchez.
When
right
you
there.
agree with me, man,
No, I
you
said
look better and
Sanchez was
better.
good. But you're talking about he could beat Wilder and all these guys.
You
No.
had the African beat Sanchez. Now all of a sudden you would Sanchez.
No, I saw the special. I saw the greatness in him against
At that
FA.
night? That night?
yeah.
Okay.
But
I knew he was a good fight.
What did I say that night? Wilder and Fury separated themselves a lot.
And you were wrong there.
I don't think so. I think both. I mean, Parker.
I got 34 on here that says
You
you're
have
wrong.
50. I really think that it's, and again, no offense, anybody can beat anybody. When Tyson was champion, forget about Buster, again, special athlete, but there weren't a bunch of guys who could beat Tyson.
Right.
When Holmes was champion, there was a lot of good, fighters, but I just think any of these guys could beat. None of them are going to beat Wilder and Fury. In my opinion, I
agree.
just don't
I
think
agree with
they're deep. I guess
You're right. They wouldn't be Fury. There's a lot of Wilder beaters on here.
I don't think so, Jim.
A lot
I really
of
don't.
Wilder beaters. He ain't got no stamina.
But hell,
He
he might
gonna
not
fight a
have
4-round fight?
Well, but he's getting punched though. Fury was
Fury was
leaning on
leaning
him,
on
and
him.
he was punching him. But when he
Last time he got tired walking in the
but
ring.
when Wilder, he got hit. But when Wilder was getting knocked down, he kept getting up and he
He has
knocked.
the heart of a champion. He still has that right. And he
still has the right.
He even hurt Fury in the 8th.
Yes, that's what
later on
I'm
in the
saying.
fight.
trained for
That
2
power
years
goes.
for that fight. He ain't gonna train for 2 years for any other fight. He was in the best
good
shape
point.
of his
Listen,
life and was
listen,
gassed out
First
after
of all,
3.
sometimes you have bad matchup. How many guys are going to be that much bigger than
Is that an excuse?
No,
I'm
it's
just
a
saying.
fact. It's
I'm
a
just keeping
fact.
track of them.
Facts over fiction.
No, I'm just
Facts
saying,
over
man.
feelings. The fact is, Fury's a difficult matchup for him. He's bigger. He's heavier.
Right.
He's very skilled.
Why did he take step aside
As
money
much
then?
as I dislike Fury, he has heart and he has a chin
Recovery
because he keeps getting up.
Would they blow everybody out of the water?
I believe so. I believe
Well,
so.
do you agree with me that they separated
I
themselves?
think they
a lot?
separated
Do you
themselves
think
from everyone
Frank
else.
Sanchez wouldn't have a chance against Wilder?
I think it would be nice for a while, and I think Wilder clips him. I really do.
I think they're clearly better, but I mean, there's guys that could have a chance against them.
He's not going to get embarrassed. He dropped in the rankings.
Don't even bring AJ up.
Sanchez
He's lost
was-
2 out of his last 3 fights.
So did Wilder.
Sanchez,
He lost to one guy. He lost to one guy who
No,
people feel
and
is the
tied
top.
the same guy in the last 3 fights.
Ortiz lost
It's
to
one guy.
Yeah.
Ortiz lost to
When's
one
the
guy.
last time Wilder won a fight?
He beat Ortiz.
What year? What year was that?
Listen,
my phone
first
only
of
goes
all,
back
most
3
people
years.
aren't fighting. Yeah, your phone doesn't answer. Your phone doesn't keep track of anything.
Y'all talk like
It's
this
one
is
guy.
Wilder.
Unless we were from Johnstown.
Y'all talk like
right.
this is 2017 Wilder. This is
He
2022.
still has. Foreman was 100 years old. He could still knock you
The
out.
last thing
Wilder,
that goes is what, Claudio?
power.
You've taught me this a long time, and you've said it as well, is power. He still has power. He still has the heart of a champion.
But Foreman developed stamina when he got old.
he
Wilder has no stamina.
Yeah, but he can get that. He can train a little bit
Well,
more. I think he had to drop a few
He trained
pounds.
for 2
First
years
of
again
all,
now.
First of all, he does. Listen, some
me.
guys can't carry that weight. We've
Right.
seen that Wilder's
Right.
not good at
Is
carrying
that
that
another
233.
excuse? I'm just trying to.
It's a
I'm
fact,
trying to
Jim.
keep track of them.
It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. Sometimes
Sorry to
you live
mark
and you
up your
learn.
paper,
Some guys are
Claudio.
better at fighting at this weight. Some guys are better at fighing welterweight
Okay,
before they
here's
jump up to
And it's a split
154.
second. I mean,
Right.
It's a-
one little thing, Luther, am I
Excuse
right?
meter is loaded. You got
Back to
Luther, let me ask you this. Again, we repeat. They separated themselves. Who do you think in the heavyweight division, today, next month, whatever, could beat Fury or Wilder? Not give him a problem, beat him.
I'm not sure I'm picking anybody to beat either one of those two. Right. You know, Fury is solid. You know, he showed his chin. He has this newfound power. He can also box. I mean, he's
And
really
Wilder?
stepped. And Wilder still has that big right hand. You know, I'm worried about his stamina, but I think he'll come in at 210, 220.
Exactly.
Not that
That makes a hell of a
240, 240. It
difference.
does. You know, especially when your legs.
210?
And it won't hurt his power.
Yeah, when your legs aren't used to carrying 240
Right.
and 230, you can wear out very quickly. You
He
know.
got more gray in his beard than you do.
But he can still
You
hit.
always get mad at
He's
those
got
guys
that
with the
eraser.
beard.
Well, listen, I said before in previous shows, in my opinion, Tyson Fury is the greatest heavyweight of all
Okay,
time.
so
better
who
than
can-
Rocky
in the-
Marciano and Cassius
Come
Clay.
on with that.
So who
in my
is-
opinion.
Another
on
shock
your
jock
list?
So
statement.
nobody could beat Tyson Fury on my list. Nobody in the history of
But you
boxing
said it's
could
so
beat.
deep. But it's so deep.
It's
huh?
so deep.
It's
Now
so deep.
we're talking about Wilder. There's about 20 guys on
20
this
guys.
list.
All right, Jim. That's absolute
I'll be
nonsense.
honest with you. I think Usyk can maybe give him a little bit of a problem.
I think the real baby could give him a
Not right
problem.
now. Not right now. I mean, if he gets caught, like you always say, what do you say 1,000 times?
Pow!
If you're 230, 240, you got a shot. But Wilder can hit. And you know what, Luther?
When?
Luther, excuse me for the clearing the throat, but when we talk about chins, maybe Wilder doesn't have the greatest chin, but he too has a nice shot. His recovery chin ain't bad either.
Right. He's taking some
And he-
shots
and
and
he
he
can
keeps
throw-
getting up.
and he can
keeps
throw a
getting
hit
up.
afterwards.
Right.
Who's recovery chin?
Wilder.
Fury's not a knockout puncher. Fury's knockout percentage is one of the lowest ever for a
Well,
heavyweight.
somehow he has this newfound power, you know, and he's using it.
When
he went to Crunk Gym with Sugar Hill Stewart and went back to his roots, and now he's a power puncher.
I just think, I repeat, I just don't know who in the division.
First of all, I'm sorry to cut
no,
you
it's
off.
okay.
Luis Ortiz, is he a power puncher? He is a knockout artist?
Is
Is he a knockout artist?
the
He's about
retired-
to fight on January 1st. What are you talking about? He's fighting Charles
He's coming
Martin.
out retirement. Is that going to be on
Try,
pay-per-view?
try to
so
keep
nobody can
up.
see
He's
it?
fighting Charles Martin
Right.
at the end of the beginning of the year.
Okay, what about it?
Is he a power puncher?
Yeah.
Okay, he laid some heavy, wicked shots on Wilder. He was able to walk through it.
Did
So
he
don't
knock him
say
down?
that.
What year?
No, he didn't knock him out. He had him
I'm
very
talking
hurt.
2022. See, you're talking. Listen, Muhammad Ali was one of the greatest of all time.
When he
But
gets
when he
knocked-
lit
when he
the
gets knocked-
Olympic torch, he won the same guy.
That was 40 years later.
Oh, well,
Chill.
this is 2022.
One
Quit
year.
telling me about
let me try to
2017.
teach you something about math. 1 year plus 1, that's 2 years. 40 years? You're talking about a prime Muhammad Ali and one guy in his 60s with Parkinson's? Stop it, Jim. There's no comparison between
We
the two.
get what you're saying,
we all
but-
agree that the greatest fighter of all time was Rocky Marciano. Part of that
I
is
don't agree with
because
that. Don't say
how
that.
he
Don't say
prepared. He
everybody.
would go away for 8 months. He would run
A
15
different
miles
time.
a day.
You're going back in
Rocky
ancient history, you
Marciano
dinosaur.
stepped away from boxing because he knew the desire to train. He didn't have it anymore. So you can't compare to Rocky Marciano in 1961 if he came out retirement with the Rocky of the late 50s.
He retired. Wilder never retired. He
didn't?
He's been relatively active. And again,
He would have fought more, but they were caught up in litigation. They would have
Michael
fought more.
Or more fights?
More fights.
Oh, okay. I thought Wilder was calling out.
we're
Calling
right
out another. If you want to get in the boxing Hall of Fame,
gosh.
you got to beat me.
well, they're talking first. They said Fury, Dillian White. I guess White doesn't like the 20%.
That's his
biggest
biggest payday. You better take
again,
that.
yeah, you better take it. That's a hell of a payday. Now they're talking. If that doesn't happen, they want Fury to fight by the end of March. Okay. Now they're talking about Joseph Parker, which I don't think that many eyes. Well, maybe in the
Fighting
UK,
another
they might-
training partner, it puts me in the mindset of Canelo and Yildirim. Those guys train together.
Right.
I
Is
don't
it a
like
smart
that
move for
matchup.
Fury?
Yeah, he's going to walk through Parker.
You can't keep taking beatings, and you said that. You can't keep fighting the guy like you said about Canelo. So I don't have a problem. I mean, as a fan, I would, but as in the business end of it, maybe Fury should go after Parker as
Or
opposed
maybe he
to.
should fight his cousin.
Oh, God.
But then there's talk about Wilder fighting Ruiz, which I think would be a nice fight. But I think Wilder walks.
Wilder
walks
destroys
through.
him.
But nobody's talking about the Usyk-Anthony Joshua fight too much. Why is that?
Because Anthony Joshua doesn't know if he's going to take step-aside money or if he's going to be Larry Hoover and go back to the streets and do all. Who knows what Anthony Joshua's
quit.
doing?
Then quit.
And then who
Am I right?
knows? Yeah, who knows what he's going to do? Is he going to take? That's your boy.
Yeah.
That's the guy. Half of these for 25 shows, you said he was the greatest ever.
Well,
What's going on with Joshua?
I always had him number 6.
No.
of all time.
Stop
I
lying.
still have him number
Chill.
6.
Smokopedia is lying again.
Always
We
had
have
him number
25
6 of all
shows.
time.
Put it on the replay.
We
Put it on the
have you
video.
on
I had him
25
as number
shows
one
saying he was
fighter
the number
of
one.
today,
Okay, stop. Okay.
But I had him top 6 of all time.
You had him all time number
Yeah.
one.
No,
We
I
have
never had
top.
him.
We
I
have
always had him
errors
in-
when you had him number one. We compared errors.
No.
That's CTE.
Yeah, and errors, yeah.
Okay, well,
but I'm
you had
saying
him number one
I've
then.
always had him 6 all time.
That's fake news.
Always, but number one.
Come on, we do
now I
have this
moved
on
him down.
tape.
I moved him down a spot.
A
but
spot.
as far as in today, because he's not better than Tyson Fury.
Or
but what I'm
Wilder,
saying
or
is
Usyk.
he's already done enough to be in the Boxing Hall of Fame.
We're not
I
talking.
don't know
Listen,
about that,
we're
man.
not. Answer the question. What's next for Anthony Joshua? Is he going to take step-aside money, or is he going to go ahead and try to fight Usyk again? What do you think is best for him?
I don't know.
What do you think's
I don't
best
know
for
about today's step aside money. 4 or 5 champions out there. He held three out of the 4 belts. He could never get the Wilder fight, and now if he does take step aside money, that's fine. Listen, I think his heart was broken when he was going to fight Fury. That was going to be the biggest fight that we've had since Jack Dempsey.
Stop.
And
Stop.
and now
They knew it
Jack
wasn't
Dempsey,
gonna
Gene
happen.
Tunney, and now they're offering step aside money, this, that, and the other thing. He's looking for a trainer, so maybe it would be smart for him to take step aside money until he finds a trainer that he's comfortable with.
That step aside money, that's tempting, Luther. Especially if they give you a good number.
Yeah, Wilder should have took that step aside money.
No, he wanted to fight, and now in his loss, people are trying to put respect on him.
Cleopatra heart is heart.
Here you go. You always find a way to throw that slander out
She's
there.
always in the show. She's in the shows more than Vinny.
Right.
Who gets mentioned more?
Exactly.
Right?
Wilder's wife, according to
Telling
Jim.
you, no matter what. I think he mentioned her. She didn't vote for Vinny in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
There's fights out there. And Jim, to your point, I'd like to see a lot of these guys fight each other. But that doesn't mean that I think that they're great or that they're going to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, they're entertaining fights.
He got guys who were retired. USS Cunningham is on that list.
USS Cunningham is number 34.
Dwayne Bobbick is
How?
number 28. He hasn't
As
fought
a
in 40
heavyweight,
years.
as a heavyweight, he didn't fight his last fight at heavyweight. He was on a. He was.
I got him here.
You
that he can move
so it's
up.
a fake list.
He can move.
He didn't fight at heavyweight his last fight.
He fought a lot of heavyweights.
His last fight, he didn't fight at heavyweight.
What was Fury? Bridgerweight?
Yeah, but that was a while. It was a couple years ago.
I'm just saying, he's
What,
still.
5,
He's going to be on my list. He's still training, and if he gets
That
that
list
call,
is
he's ready.
fake. as a $3 bill.
Yeah, because I got the African at 12 that you said would beat.
But he's fighting.
Sanchez.
He fought.
Which African?
This is
What African?
Whatever his name.
Ajabe.
Oh, F.A. Ajabe.
Ajabe. Yeah. Well, I mean, there are some interesting fights, but like Luther says,
One day I'm going to go over this list. Tony Yoka.
No, yes,
Yeah.
but let's see them. Like Luther always says.
We got to have these guys fight, Jim.
Yeah,
That's all we want to see.
I know Jonathan Rice is fighting, but he hadn't fought in a long time.
Right.
Fight. I'm not saying
They're
fight
they're
every
fighting on
damn
that
week.
Luis Ortiz,
Yeah.
Charles Martin card.
Yes.
Jonathan Rice,
Yep.
Coffee too.
But when was that first fight?
Yeah, that was early. Yeah.
And what do you always say? Fight.
Yeah,
We're not saying
these guys are not active enough. That's
Right.
my biggest complaint with boxing today. These guys fight
That's all
maybe
you do
once
is
or twice.
complain.
No, let me ask you. Do you agree with this?
Well, that's my biggest complaint.
Do you agree with this? If you walk through a guy, let's just say the Morrell fight against Fox, he didn't take any punches.
Right.
I would not. What is this? December. I wouldn't wait till summer to fight
Right,
again.
he can fight
You-
February, March. Yeah.
Right. Now, if it was a war,
Then you
heal
might
up.
take an-
Now,
yeah.
Jim will tell you, again, boxing historian, when LaMotta and Sugar Ray, they fought every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And in
Different
between
era,
fights,
guys.
would
Come
take
on.
a
but they're
fight.
humans a human.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
but
whole
in
different
between the
era.
fights, Sugar Ray fought another guy
Yeah,
real
10
quick.
rounder. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not saying that after a war. If you fight a war, you took some punches, take time, because none of us, maybe him, we don't want to see any of these guys hurt and all busted up. But if you walk through a guy, don't wait 6, 7, 8 months. And the other thing, Luther, that we don't talk about, you want to keep your name out there.
Right.
Am I right or wrong?
Right.
You want to keep your name out. You want to be relevant, right? But there's a lot of guys in here that we go ahead.
Right here, this Luke got a little management interest in him. He mentioned my 23rd ranked guy. to
Well,
fight
okay,
Parker
would you want to
next.
see him fight Yoka?
Huh?
Would you want to see him fight Yoka?
Luther said Parker.
I'm fine with that
That's
too.
been out there. That has been out there.
You got financial interest in this?
No, that has been out there. That maybe Joseph Parker, Philip Herkovich could
Because
be
you just
next.
threw that name out the blue.
He just fought a couple weeks ago, Jim, and look
Luther,
good.
let me
It's
ask
time for him to
I'm-
step it up.
I'm seeing you ain't mentioning the human punching bag anymore. Oh, come on, he fight.
Luther,
Only fight Parker.
Before we go to our
One of the Three Stooges. What's his name?
Who's the human punching bag?
Your boy that got knocked out this last fight, the ball hitting guy.
Kalnaki.
Yeah,
Kalnaki.
I said you ain't mentioning him, Luke.
Hey,
Parker's off him.
he's retired
be.
right
Oh,
now.
that's who I want AJ to fight.
Hey,
Please. Luther, let me ask you.
He might
is there
get AJ.
Is there anybody on Jim's list? And I know there's a lot of people on that list now, but is there anybody on that list that you don't want to see?
I can't. He has so many. There's probably at least 10. Well, there's a couple
Really?
retired guys. USS Cunningham,
Okay,
he's training his
besides-
kids right now. Kubrat Pulov, come
he's-
on, he's done.
he's done.
That's why that list is trash. You have what, 20?
Yoka and Philip with Herkovich. Well, I'd be good with that.
Yeah, Yoka, yes. I would like to see some of these young guys mix it up. You know, Michael Hunter needs to mix it up with some of these young guys. You know, there's a lot of guys.
I got Michael Hunter at 30.
I'm not going to say that this is the greatest era, but it's interesting, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Wilder Ruiz, I'd like to see it. I like to see Sanchez.
There's a lot of parity, is what they say. There's a lot of parity
Luthor's
with these
mentioning my
heavyweights.
number 30th guy, Michael Hunter. This is a deep list.
Yeah, he's
your
got to mention
list.
somebody.
That's your list.
gotta
Jim.
make some-
We got to have these guys fight.
Right. But nobody's fighting.
Yeah,
That's just
yeah.
it. If
That's
you
the
want to
thing. We
get
need
to
these
that
guys-
big seat,
we need to get these
what did
guys
Ric Flair
out there.
used to say? To be the man, you got to
beat the man.
You got to beat the man. Well, okay, well, fight the man. Don't just, like you said before on social media, threaten people.
Right.
Go out and do it.
There's more Twitter fingers go. Every fight, you see all these fighters
Exactly.
tweeting
That's
and
Hugh
tweeting.
Fury.
Huey,
Fight his
how the hell do you
cousin.
have Huey Fury, number 24?
Yeah, he'll fight his cousin.
When's the last time he fought, Jim?
Huh?
When's the last time
He
Huey
can fight
fought?
his cousin. His cousin's looking
When
for
did
a
he
fight.
fight last?
It's been a little while.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to have our fantasy fight, Lennox Lewis against Deontay Wilder. Right back with the Boxing Authorities. Welcome back to the Boxing Authorities. Now, Jim, go over your list again. No, I'm kidding. All right. Fantasy fight,
List is
Lennox
trash.
Lewis, who I think is one of the all-time greats. Boxing puncher, could do it all. Big man who could move well and showed great respect to the sport. Never gotten any jams. Just a great guy, in my opinion. And his 2 losses, he defeated those guys. So
No, he came back and destroyed those
them,
guys.
destroyed
He didn't
them.
just defeat them. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness! Look at that right hand.
yeah, look
Listen,
out.
man.
Good hit. Galata.
A
Ooh.
lot of. Ooh,
Look at his
that's
eyes.
what
I love that.
He's CTE got set in like Jim. Did you see his face? He looked like Jim right there. Oh my
Good
gosh!
hit. Oh,
look
look
at
at
that
Razor
running.
running.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Tommy Morrison. He
Morrison.
fought Nate. He cleaned the division out,
He
Luther.
cleaned the division
Except for
out.
Riddick Bowe, but I don't blame Lennox on that one.
Well, Riddick Bowe was throwing belts
In
in
the
the
garbage.
trash
Look at
can
that
to
shot.
avoid
Tyson.
him. You know, this is a defeated Tyson. But Lennox Lewis, I have him as one of the top heavyweights of all time. Only had 2 blemishes on his record. Those were luck. Those were just some
He
punches.
got caught.
As
He never
AJ
got
said,
beat.
punches from the guards and knocked him out.
Did he ever get beat?
No, he never got beat.
He got caught.
Destroyed Mike Tyson. He destroyed Evander. He had a great trainer. Emmanuel Stewart that's where he started the blueprint.
Yeah, right.
Get a big guy with a long jab and then come with that right. Nobody could beat him. One of the most underrated
Yes.
heavyweights of all time. He's got to be top 10.
Oh, higher.
Maybe top 5 for some people. But he's
Heavyweight
defi-
or all?
No, I'm just heavyweight.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's
heavyweight.
definitely up there.
He's definitely
Let
up
me
there.
ask you a question. He didn't get. It was a tough fight for him against Klitschko. That was the only one that really sticks out.
That was better, and he won that one too.
cut
And
him,
he
yeah.
was an older Lennox Lewis. He had been through a couple wars, and he still beat a young,
Yep.
hungry Klitschko. You know, that was a nice ending for him. But it was just hitting.
No, that's okay.
Lennox.
Now, obviously, we talked plenty about Deontay Wilder, but your thoughts on Lennox Lewis before we talk about the fight?
Well, Lennox Lewis and Deontay Wilder were 2 overrated
Ooh,
giants
stop
that
that.
got retired by 2 white Europeans. You know,
here you go.
Klitschko brothers
You are-
retired Lennox Lewis,
And
and Tyson
he
Fury
won.
retired.
He
Wilder.
won, Jim.
He's seen the
He
younger
won.
brother. He's seen the future.
Did he win the fight?
He's
Did
seen
he
the
win?
crystal
Did he
ball.
win? Quit
Did
making
he fight
stuff
both
up.
of them or
maybe he
one?
thought-
Did
maybe
he
he
fight
thought-
both
He
of them?
beat
trying to
one.
go.
He
He
said,
beat
I
him.
beat one, I could beat the other.
The best one was coming down the road. He
Jim,
seen
he
that.
beat him.
He said, let me
Stop
step
with your
away.
fake news.
Even though I still love boxing because I'm on a commentary in all the time.
And he looks great. He does
knew,
great.
He knew what the future was. He
Which
barely
is okay,
beat the one
which is
on
smart,
cuts.
but I think he'd have won. But go ahead.
He barely beat the one on cuts. All that money out there, he walked away. He got
didn't
out of
need
it at the right
He
time.
beat everybody. He beat the
Wait a
Hall
minute.
of Famers.
Wait a-
He proved he was the
Yeah,
greatest
like
of
I
his
said,
era.
white European made him retire. Klitschko brother.
I don't think he. I think
Nobody
he just said.
made him
In
retire.
my opinion-
he said he was
in
going
my
to retire.
opinion, he knew he couldn't
said
beat
wanted.
him.
He said, who's the up and coming guy? I'm gonna beat him, and then I'm gonna retire.
Yeah,
Smart.
I beat
beat
all
Evander,
these
you
old. I beat all these old cats.
Oh,
you know,
they
with the name
were in his
Tyson
era.
and all these
Were they in
guys
his era?
right out
They
of
were all from the same era. They're not
same
old
era.
cats.
Tyson got out of jail. What are you talking
They're
about?
from the same era.
He was
Jim.
eating Roman noodles. How can you get in shape?
But Tyson
with
was still
Roman
Tyson.
noodles?
Tyson could still hit.
Yeah, he could still hit,
And
but he wasn't the
and
same
he
Mike
laid
Tyson.
him down.
He wasn't the same Mike Tyson.
Laid him down.
Yeah, like he got laid down twice.
He's a
like
big
Lennox
man.
Got
got
caught.
laid
He
down.
got
He's a
caught.
big man.
Punches from the
But your
guards.
thoughts on the fight itself? Who would you like?
Man, it would be a great fight. Now, there's always a chance Deontay Wilder can hit with the best of them. So he might be able to catch him at one time, but I think Lennox Lewis, with that left, could keep him on the end of that jab, but I think he could outpunch him.
And don't
Lennox
forget-
Lewis is just that great.
Don't
of a
forget,
fighter.
Lennox fought some guys who could hit. Again, David
he
Tua,
fought
Tyson,
David Tua,
and
Tyson,
he fought everybody.
Galata.
Yeah.
He fought everybody. He cleaned out that era, dominated Evander Holyfield, were robbed on the cards the one time, but then came back and dominated him. Destroyed Mike Tyson. Very underrated. He's a great heavyweight, and I have him over
Luther,
Deontay
real quick,
Wilder.
what do you always say about Floyd? He fought different styles.
Yeah.
Did Lewis not fight different styles? Sluggers, boxers,
He fought
boxers,
everybody
punchers?
from that era and dominated every single one.
It
of
didn't
them.
look bad against
What
any
a weak
particular
era.
style.
That was not a
No,
great era.
no,
That was
In my opinion.
Evander
In my opinion.
Holyfield. When you talk about
As a
heavyweight,
boxing
can
historian,
I
can I-
finish talking?
Can I have an
I'm reclaiming
opinion?
my time. Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson. You can't talk heavyweight boxing without talking those guys, and he beat both of them in dominating fashion.
Yeah.
Come on, Galata. We thought he was going to be
thoughts on
tough.
the fight?
Destroyed him.
Well, first of all, I would like to have him on the show so we can get the opinion of Luther's mentally ill cousin, Oliver McCall.
Oh, you better
That's
stop.
what I want to say. Can we get him, Lou? Straight jacket. He can do the straight jacket on too.
This is why he won't come on, because you're on it. Maybe when me and Claudio do the show, he'll come on.
I ain't coming on with Jim.
I like
But
to
hey,
see him face to face so we can catch you with one of those
I
Lennox
think
Lewis
it would
shots.
be a great fight. I don't know which one I'm going to quit first.
Ooh.
But I
Lennox
think it
didn't
would
quit.
be.
Nobody quit.
When did Lennox, or really Deontay, when did they
Deontay
quit?
never quit.
Well, he looked like he got
He didn't
but
quit.
hanging
He got
on.
up again.
no.
He got up again.
I'm
The
just
referee
saying,
stopped it.
I can't have an opinion.
You can't.
I don't know which
No,
one of
you
these.
can't.
I don't know which one of these two
I'm
judges
done letting you
quit.
lie. Neither one of them quit in any fight in their whole
Who
career.
was that
Nobody
other
quit.
one? What's the other name of the guy that knocked him out that hit the
Ron.
who?
Rockman, Hassan
But,
Rockman.
who?
Holyfield did that to him.
What's his name?
Rockman.
Wow, that's another Hall of Famer.
He was good.
That's another
He
Hall of
had
Famer that
power.
knocked
He's
him out.
another
He
guy
was
that had power.
Who else did he knock out? What do you mean
He had
power?
plenty of
Wait.
knockouts on his record.
Whenever, how many times have you said, again, to
Anybody
repeat,
over 200 pounds
and Rahman
can
caught
hit.
him. As simple as that.
You shouldn't get caught when you're 6
Oh,
foot
he's-
6
they're
by
human.
this guy.
But Rahman can
careless. That's what I said.
He
But-
got
but
it
I
right.
don't know
Beat the hell
I
out
don't
of
know
him.
What
which
happened
one
in
of
the
these-
rematch?
I don't know which
What
one of
happened in the
these will
rematch?
quit. I don't know
Okay,
which one of
nobody
these
ever
will
quit in their
quit.
whole career. That's fake news, Jim.
And he fought him. He
Don't
didn't
even put
dance
that out
around
there.
him.
Neither one of
I
them
would've-
quit
I
in
would've
any
loved
fight.
to
Those are
seen-
two warriors. You're
I would have
disrespected.
loved to
No,
have seen
no.
in their prime, because they both fought each other in the Olympics. I would have loved to have seen Lennox Lewis and Riddick both.
Yeah.
fight
Well,
when
if
Bo
Riddick
was
Bowe
in the
didn't,
prime.
if Riddick Bowe didn't throw the belt in the garbage, they would have fought.
Well, that's the same
You know?
thing they're doing today.
who's
Earl
doing
Spence
that?
been pretty much throwing
No,
belts
no,
in
no,
the
no,
garbage.
no. He has all the belts. He's
Like
getting
the-
another belt.
Like the
Bud
vote getter for the
Crawford.
Hall of Fame said that Terence Crawford wants to fight.
Well,
but Earl
why does he
Spence don't.
negotiate and get the fight? You
Well,
know, who
not-
is he fighting?
Who would you take between Wilder and Lennox?
Like I said, there's two quitters, so I
Lies,
would say
that's fake
if I
news.
had to take one, I would take 9 times out of 10 I'd go with Lennox Lewis because of the Olympic experience.
I would take Lennox because he was a better boxer.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, he could
He
move.
was a better
He was
boxer,
a better boxer.
He
Now,
had more
neither one quit.
tools in the toolbox.
More tools in the toolbox.
Yeah.
Very good. Neither one of them quit. And,
No,
and-
exactly.
And,
Thank you
as
for
far as
thank you
chins
for
are
saying that.
concerned, I think both of them had pretty good chins. Again, Lennox was one of the all-time greats.
All time.
And there's a shot you can lose. He fought guys.
Heavyweights.
But when he did get hit by Tua, but he didn't get knocked down. He fought Tua, a great, intelligent
He got
fight.
hit by Holyfield. He got hit by all these guys.
So
Two
I
times.
think it would be a classic fight,
Yeah.
a big ticket seller, but I got to go with Lennox, an
Yeah.
all-time great.
All time.
All right, when we come back, we're going to have our popular segment, the Mailbag, right back with the boxing authorities. Welcome back to the Boxing Authorities, our popular segment, Mailbag. Send your emails to boxingmailbag@yahoo.com or on my show, the Claudio Relsano Show. You can send it to that show as well. Thank you. You are a part of the show, trust me. All right, this is for all three. Marco from Cleveland. Do you think your fathers would have made good cornermen, or would you want them in the corner at all? Let's start with you, Smokin Jim.
Well, like I said, man, I've been jumped before by my dad, my Uncle Calvin, and my Uncle Jimmy. So we actually, my dad would take me to the garage. We had boxing gloves and everything. He beat the heck out of me down there. So yeah, my dad would not throw in the towel for me.
Luther.
Yeah, I think my dad would be a great trainer.
Trainer or in the corner?
In the corner, I think he'd be a great trainer, great in the corner, allow me to get my work off. But wouldn't be quick to throw in the towel. He wouldn't do me like Kenny Porter did, throw in the towel and then talk about how I didn't train.
Throw you under the bus.
No,
Well, you grew up
he
with a
let me
silver
go.
spoon in your mouth.
No, Jim. You the one who was getting moved from Pitt Hills to Monroeville and all kind of other areas.
For
No.
me, whenever I played in front of my dad, I never did well because I tried too damn hard. My mom was always my biggest critic. Why did you send that guy? Why did you swing at this pitch? But I think both of them would have been pretty good in my corner. So yeah, it'd been nice. Okay, Luther.
My mom would have been throwing in the towel immediately.
Yeah.
The fight didn't even start. I don't want to see anybody get hit.
My mom used to beat me with a broom handle.
Well, that explains it.
Luther.
I think Jim's been dropped on his head a couple times too.
Real quick, Luther. John from West Virginia. Now, you know what? We're going to wait for that one because that's a long one. All right, you know what? We're going to stop there. Again, I would love to have my parents in the corner, but man, there'd have been some bickering.
Right.
There'd have been some bickering. All right. Well, as always, we hope you enjoy our show as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. We have one more show left for the year. We can't wait to bring it to you. Thank you for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities.